So we're doing the baked tofu. So has anybody used tofu before? Anybody done tofu before? Okay. So for a long time, I did not really want to try tofu. I don't know why. I think it was just a mental thing. So, but for people that have tried tofu in the past or used tofu before, it's really convenient, and it is a nice protein to kind of add into your diet, because Megan and I are always trying to get people to kind of step outside the box a little bit. And we always tell people it's not about elimination. It's not about elimination. It's about substitution and finding more ideas and expanding your culinary horizons, because we really don't want to be. There's a whole world of food out there, and sometimes you start trying some new foods and you realize you can get some new favorites and maybe even try some new recipes. And what's great about tofu is it cooks really quick. So, especially for quick meal ideas, tofu is one of those proteins that doesn't really take a long time to cook. The other thing about tofu is that some kids, they really don't like the texture of meat. And tofu is it's a little bit of a different texture. So some kids might actually like tofu versus, the texture of meat or chicken. So, and then other benefits of tofu is it doesn't have the same type of bacteria that chicken does. So like you're not dealing with salmonella or some of those other bacteria that some of the other meats do. So we're gonna go ahead and do a baked tofu recipe. And the tofu that we have today is extra firm. So when you're buying tofu, you do want to look for this recipe, an extra firm tofu, because it's going to hold up a little bit better. For some of the softer tofus, and usually sometimes we'll use those in smoothies, but we're going to be using extra firm tofu today. So we are going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and open up the package. And some people in the past, some people think you got to dry it out or pat it dry and let it kind of dry out a little bit. With this recipe, I don't really worry about it too much. If you want to, you can. Megan, what about with tofu before? Have you had to pat it dry or?
Yeah, but now, so this had just a little bit of fluid in it, but we drained that off. But you don't have to stack it, and let it seep anymore, because this is the extra firm, so it's good to go the way it is.
So what we're going to do with this tofu is I'm going to go ahead and, so we're going to cut it like 1 inch across, and then we're going to go ahead and cut it into cubes. So we're going to cube it up. So
let's go ahead and let you push that down. Yeah, I made tofu this weekend, this baked tofu recipe, and salmon, and the tofu went before the salmon, which surprised me. So.
And it's really interesting. I think even my husband, who's like a meat and potatoes guy, recently started using tofu, and even last night he requested that we go get some tofu to add into our shrimp stir fry. That really surprised me. So I think with tofu, it's one of the things that, once you just try it and kind of give it a chance, it'll surprise you. And it's really not expensive. It's actually one of the cheaper proteins to get. So this whole package, this bag at Trader Joe's, I think it was right around $3.
It was $2, and it's organic tofu, and it's from Trader Joe's. So $2 is for a whole pound, a whole pack. So that's a really good deal on protein, right? If you think about your other protein sources.
So so basically the cube, so we're cubing it up, so it kind of looks like a little cube, and then we're going to go ahead and put that into the pan. So pretty easy. And then we're going to go ahead and take a green onion, kind of like we did before, and cut it up. All right. And so how are you guys doing on those vegetables?
I think we're doing okay. We've had one poke in the finger, which kind of hurts.
Okay.
But other than that, I think we're doing okay. I'm going to go ahead and make the sauce up for this. So let's see here. I want the soy sauce. So you've got the recipe in front of you. We're doing about 1/4 cup of soy sauce, so about 4 tablespoons. And then I like maple syrup on this, but in the sample that you guys get to try later, we actually used honey today because we didn't have real maple syrup on hand when we were making this at the hospital. So we used honey just so it was a nice flavor. And I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of that. And then rice wine vinegar is a nice, really tangy addition, especially if you're going kind of for that Asian taste, but you can really use any vinegar, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, whatever you like. And toasted sesame oil, this is optional. You could even use the regular sesame oil if you have that on hand. You okay? Okay. And just a teeny tiny amount of this because it goes a long, long way. So I'm just going to do about 2 teaspoons in there. I'm going to skip the hot sauce. And that's it. So let's take these skewers out. And normally I would do a bunch more in this ginormous pan, right? But you do want enough room to stir it because in the oven you want to have enough room for these to kind of be separate and be baked.
So you could really do this recipe in the morning and just have it all marinated. Mm-hmm. And actually the longer that you marinate it, the more that the flavor goes into the tofu.
Nice.
So you could really, I love cooking in the morning because if I can just get it all pre-prepped, even if I can just cut my vegetables in the morning, I can come home, put them right into the pan. So this recipe is great. You could just, pre-prep it in the morning, get it all marinated. You can come home, put it right into the oven, which is great.
Okay, okay. So, and I totally forgot the spices, the garlic and the ginger. So I'm just throwing them in here. And then let's add a little bit of salt and pepper too, just a skosh. Okay. So
now,
that's good to go. 30 minutes in the oven.
I'm going to say with this recipe, if you really didn't want to do the tofu, you could use this sauce to marinate chicken or shrimp as well. So if you just want to use this marinade for a different type of protein source, it would probably work just as great.
Or even your vegetables. So normally what I would do is throw this on the grill or throw this in the broiler, but you could just throw the whole thing in with your pan of tofu and just bake them all at the same time, right? It'd be really great.